The trumpets echoed through Mandalay Bay, their brass calls signaling something bigger than boxing was about to unfold. Las Vegas, for just a few hours, became the beating heart of Mexico. In opposing corners stood two men carrying a nation's history and hopes. Everyone expected action, but what they got was civil war. Erik El Terrible Morales, the unbeaten WBC champion, was relentless, fearless, and widely viewed as the next Mexican star.
More action and more contact with each succeeding round. And down goes Jones!
To his fans, Morales was the embodiment of Tijuana's grit and ambition.
But it hasn't happened. Oh! Huge left hook! Maidana's holding on!
The first major fighter to come out of their city, he stood as their pride and joy. Tough, rebellious, and working class, the embodiment of the border town's identity. And standing across from him, the baby-faced assassin, Marco Antonio Barrera, WBO Super Bantamweight champion, arrived as a fighter with everything to prove. Written off by most after back-to-back losses to Junior Jones years prior, Barrera had fallen from grace. Many doubted he would ever reclaim his place atop Mexican boxing. By contrast to Morales, Barrera represented the polish of Mexico City, a well-educated man from a wealthy family, destined for law school before he traded his books for boxing gloves.
Chances to throw.
McKinley's a weak fighter now. Barrera knows it.
And that's it!
The fight had been simmering for years, long before the contracts were signed. As is often the case, it began with rumors from the gym, debates over whether a knockdown in sparring years prior was a slip or not. Beyond title unification, on the line was pride, a war over identity, city, and country. Though the bout would be illuminated by Nevada neon, its pulse would reverberate through Mexico and Southern California. The hype was huge, and the animosity even bigger. In Los Angeles, tensions between communities spilled over, inflamed by stories and insults like Chicken Tijuana.
Morales claims those losses broke his spirit, to which he replies, Chicken Tijuana, because Morales from Tijuana, which has never ever produced a major fighter before.
Tijuana responded in kind. Be patriotic and kill a Chilango. On this night, HBO cleared its schedule for a single fight, fully expecting a battle that would send shockwaves through the boxing world. The winner would claim everything: the belts, the pride of a nation, and a golden ticket. A super fight against featherweight champion Prince Naseem Hamed. From the press conferences to the weigh-ins, neither man cracked a smile or shook hands. This was personal, and the entire world was about to watch. As the opening bell rang, Barrera charged to center ring, instantly attacking with powerful combinations to mark his territory. With such immediate pressure, Marco quickly had his opponent's back against the ropes as he looked to target the body.
Right hand.
And a solid left hook lands early for Barrera, and he knocks Morales back with a right hand.
Barrera's early fight tactics were a masterclass in lead hand offensive versatility, doubling up left hooks and uppercuts, changing the target between head and body, while mixing in jabs and showing the ever-present threat of a right hand, should Morales make a mistake. Erik quickly understood the assignment and started standing his ground and firing back. Marco, an excellent front foot counterpuncher, quickly noticed this and set up Erik with a jab to the body. Knowing Morales was likely to mirror his attack, he countered Erik's body jab with a double left uppercut, an extremely creative counter beautifully set up. Morales started to adapt, moving in and out, searching for his rhythm and crashing into exchanges. Morales scoring big with right hands when his back was to the ropes. Barrera slipping inside and working the body.
Left hook upstairs and to the body by Morales.
When the bell rang to end the round, Barrera bared his mouthpiece and stared down the younger fighter as he made his way to the corner, a defiant grin that taunted Erik, his fans, and anyone else who thought the 3-to-1 odds were a fair representation of his abilities. Round 2 saw Morales on the front foot, looking to regain respect and control the pace with long-range combinations, though his aggression did little to tame Barrera.
1-2 combination by Barrera. And he punched the left hook to the body right through the guard of Erik Morales.
Equal parts chess match and firefight, every exchange was a calculated display of boxing skill. Feints, slips, and angles set up each man's attacking opportunities. On the outside, Barrera's improved defense forced Morales into riskier attacks. But even as Morales found openings, Barrera's slips, pivots, and parries kept him out of danger. Rounds 3 and 4 saw more of the same play out. Morales boxing from the outside, throwing long combinations. On Barrera's part, he was keeping tight and hammering the body. Morales landed a huge right hand in the fourth that sent Barrera reeling backwards. Overzealous, Morales slipped in his pursuit. In a way, this served as a snapshot of Morales' performance in that flashes of brilliance were often followed by moments of recklessness. And by this point, the patterns were set. Barrera's variable left hand and relentless body attack, Morales countering in combination with tricky angles. Both matched skill with pure will, and every round turned into an all-out brawl in the fading seconds.
To pick his spots, while still focusing on Morales' body to do his damage.
As the audience roared with every all-out exchange, nobody, not even the fighters, could have known that the next round would land them in the history books. The bell rang for round 5, and both picked up right where they left off, trading clean shots, refusing to cede ground, and throwing every shot with killer intent. In the second minute, Morales grabbed his opportunity to pour on the pressure. He let loose with non-stop combinations and volume, driving Barrera all across the ring, the crowd crying out with every punch. Barrera covered up, absorbed the attack, and looked for his moment to punch Morales off him. Just as Morales seemed poised for a breakthrough, Barrera found his moment. He fired a ripping left hook to the body, stepping around Morales, and fired a flush right hand that sent Erik to the ropes. Morales was now entirely on the back foot, as Barrera hunted him down. Towards the end of the round, the hatred between the two combatants boiled over as Barrera cracked his foe with an illegal left off the break. A reminder that when pride is on the line, courtesy takes a back seat.
Reminiscent of round 10 of Holyfield Bow 1. The first half of the round belonged to Morales. The last minute of the round belonged to Barrera.
The applause was still echoing when the bell rang out for round 6. Both men came out with slightly more caution, trying to recover oxygen while still keeping up a pace. The fight settled into volume versus violence. Morales threw more punches, busier with his combinations, while Barrera threw less, but landed much heavier. When his left hand found its target, you saw it on Morales' face. When Morales landed his right, Barrera would step back and reset.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
Jim, I can't make up my mind whether I like the busy guy or the heavy hitter. 3-3, 57-57. I got it all even.
I wouldn't be surprised if all three judges have it even, because it's a tough fight to score.
Round 7 was spent almost entirely in the pocket. Both men became more stationary as they put on a masterclass in trench warfare. Each understood how punches complement each other on the inside. Rarely throwing single shots in close, they both effortlessly mixed between body-head, hooks, and uppercuts, framing and pushing, and forcing a rhythm that keeps your opponent on the defensive as you do your best work. Barrera's masterful left hook to the body kept surprising Morales, making him freeze in his tracks. Morales would respond with lead uppercuts and looping right hands, fighting Barrera off when his back hit the ropes. Both opened up for the ritual end-of-the-round exchange. In the 8th, the action continued much the same, Morales firing from all angles and never letting Barrera rest. But Barrera stayed aggressive, landing the heavier blows and always punishing the body. As the round went on, Barrera's experience began to show as he consistently set traps for Morales' relentless aggression. The younger man playing right into them as Marco started to get the better of more exchanges.
And the left hook. And they played right up to the bell again.
And then in the 9th, the momentum continued, with Barrera landing a hard left hook that shook Morales to the core. Morales retreated to the ropes before rallying back with a combination that left blood streaming down Barrera's face. For the first time all fight, the damage was accumulating on both men, visible for all to see. Instead of shrinking from the punishment, Morales' reaction to the blood was shark-like, as he chased Barrera with huge right hands.
This is the primal beauty of true prize fighting.
Having dominated the second half of the round, an overconfident Morales lunged in with a right hand, only to be met with a devastating 3-punch combination from Barrera that buckled his knees, swinging the momentum back to the end of the round. And when the men returned for round 10, it was a showcase of transitioning offense between ranges. At long range, Morales would jab and step into a square stance to open with hooks from both sides. At mid-range, Barrera would stay defense first, patiently applying pressure and waiting for his turn to rip the body. Morales continued to land thudding right hands as Barrera countered with hard left hooks. In the final minute, Erik landed a right hand behind Marco's ear that buckled his knees. As Erik poured on the pressure, Marco bit down on the gum shield and fought his way out of trouble. As they traded hard right hands, a follow-up left hook sent Erik reeling across the ring. The two continued trading until the final bell, as the commentary team pondered where this fight will sit in the history of Mexican boxing. And then round 11 started just as round 10 ended. Morales stunning Barrera with his right, then Barrera immediately returning the favor. As Barrera poured on the pressure, Morales showcased the art of infighting on the back foot. When Barrera pressed him to the ropes, Morales didn't cover up. He stepped back and to the side, throwing short uppercuts and hooks from defensive positions in the rhythm of his steps, and keeping his hands active even while being walked down. The 10-second clapper sounded for the penultimate round, and both men, as they'd done all night, went to war. The pre-fight odds, now a laughable memory. All that stood between each man and the end of the battle was 3 desperate minutes. Glory, heartbreak, and a trip to the hospital waited on the other end. Everyone in the arena was in total disbelief at what they'd seen so far, but they were sure that the final frame would determine the winner. The combatants shared a brief embrace to start the 12th, a moment of respect for surviving 11 rounds of primal struggle before getting right back to it. The first minute saw both men look to empty the tank. Marco continued to target the body with the same ferocity as he did in round 1, as Erik bounced on his toes and looked to put everything into a right hand. Then, in the second minute, Morales came out bouncing on his toes, trying to steal the round with his boxing. He landed clean shots from range, controlling the pace, and looking like he might edge it on activity alone. But then, Barrera fired his signature left hook. Morales staggered into the ropes but stayed up. During the follow-up assault, his unsteady legs caused a slip to the canvas. The referee immediately ruled it a knockdown, the first of Morales' career. Erik threw up his arms in protest, but it didn't matter. That one slip might have just cost him everything. But there was still more fight to go, and when the fight resumed, both men threw caution aside. Frustrated, exhausted, and knowing the round might decide it all, they refused to retreat. The traditional 10-second war to close the round became a desperate blur of leather and sheer will. As the round ended, both men dropped their hands, completely spent. Each corner rushed to their athlete, lifting them out of the fire and presenting them to the world as winners. But only the judges at ringside had the final say. The arena erupted in chaos. Most ringside observers had Barrera winning, including Judge Harold Letterman, who scored it 116-111. In his post-fight interview, Morales was gracious, admitting he knew it was close and that he nearly went out repeatedly, giving Barrera enormous respect. But Barrera was not interested. His frustration boiled over as he complained about the decision. The controversial decision only hardened divides. In the weeks that followed, the tensions between Tijuana and Mexico surged, debates raging on the radio and at family tables. Barrera's fans saw robbery. Morales supporters claimed vindication. The lack of an immediate rematch gave ample room to debate. Morales moved up to featherweight, chasing new conquests. Barrera, reinstated as WBO champ, made 3 successful defenses before moving up, showing the world his level as he dismantled Prince Naseem Hamed. On paper, both men were finding fresh glory, but behind every celebration was an undeniable truth. The Mexican Civil War had just begun. What an awesome fight. And our writer Arran setting us up with the cliffhanger at the end for parts 2 and 3. So keep your eyes out for those. Just what a gem of a fight, really. Just that round 5. Round of the year and the fight of the year, with everything on the line, from titles to national pride, regional pride, and that money fight with Prince Nas. Although, the way history would go, Marco Antonio Barrera would end up getting that in kind of a historic demolition of someone who was supposed to be the next big thing. Video on the page. Ideally, this is where we would talk about what's coming up in terms of fights for the next week, but really there's not a lot happening in terms of majors. On the UK side, we've got Ben Whittaker back in action with Eddie Hearn, now that he's left Boxer, so that's cool to see where his development goes. Huey Fury is back, if we've got any Huey Fury heads in the audience. And then, Meatball Molly, I think is on the same card as Ben Whittaker for her second fight since leaving UFC. So I guess I'll ask you guys, is there anything that I'm missing? Anything that's appointment viewing that I'm just forgetting about, or maybe I'm unaware of, that's going down on the boxing side of things? Because MMA is pretty quiet right now as well. Being a US-based company, we've got Thanksgiving. They haven't really done any Thanksgiving cards in recent years, just because, fighters want to eat turkey and not crowd weight. But yeah, is there anything I'm missing on the boxing side for the coming week, the weekend of the November 29th? Help me out here. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.